Hello, hi. Right, so this is my first Facebook Live. I am Bala from the Chocolate Cellar, and I'm going to be doing a demo. I hope you can all see me, hear me, etc. So I'm going to have to pass the phone over in a minute. I'll just wait for a few people to join up, and we will get started. So yeah, I wasn't sure what people would want to see. Just realised I've got chocolate on my face as well. Whoops, excuse me. Well, I haven't been eating chocolate, honestly. It's because we do a little test, which I will explain about in a minute. I'll get started in just a minute. So I'm at the Chocolate Cellar. We're based in New Ferry, so only a short walk from Port Sunlight, and I live in Port Sunlight, so it's quite handy for working, really. Okay, so I don't know what the time is actually. I'm going to get told in just a minute.
16:32.
Oh, it's only 2 minutes in, so I'll just wait for a couple more people to join in. If you are there and you can hear me or see me, please say hello, and I will say hello back. Okay. Hi. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to just pass this phone over so it can go on a tripod, and then I can use my hands. Okay, so hopefully you can see my worktop. Could you just move it back a little bit, please? That way. Back. That's it. Perfect. Okay, so I have a marble slab here, and hopefully you can all see that. What we're going to make is a small chocolate bowl, like this. Oh, hello Claire. Hello Mum and Anna. So we're going to make a little chocolate bowl like this. I don't know if you can see that. And it will be in dark chocolate. However, you don't have to do dark chocolate. You can do milk chocolate or white chocolate. It's entirely up to you. So what I am going to do first thing we have to do is melt the chocolate. So when I melt chocolate, I always do it in a microwave or one of the machines that I have. I do have machines here. So I've got a decent amount of chocolate here. I've probably got about 600 grams of chocolate. You don't need that much. The actual bowl only takes up about 100 grams, but it's always handy to have a bit extra, I think. So when I melt chocolate, I do always do it in a microwave rather than a bain-marie. And the reason for that is if chocolate gets any water in it, you can't really work with it too well. The reason for that is that it curdles up and it shocks the chocolate, so you can't really decorate with it or make any nice shapes with it. So I always prefer the microwave. However, if you've only got a small amount of chocolate to do, you can use a hairdryer, which everyone laughs about, but it's actually a really good way of melting chocolate. So also, if you do melt chocolate in a microwave, there's a way of doing it. So I've popped it in our microwave for 1 minute, and I'm going to take it out and then give it a stir. Okay, so if you just give me a minute now, the microwave's ready to bing. And as I said, you don't have to use dark chocolate. I'm using dark chocolate. That's one of my favourites. And it does actually set quicker as well. So I don't know if you can see that. It looks like nothing's happened, but actually it has melted just a little bit. So then I'm going to pop it in again for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to pop it in again for 30 seconds, and I'll do that, and it really only takes about 2.5 minutes to melt. So I was explaining that the reason we don't melt chocolate over a bain-marie is that with the amount of chocolate we do, we would need pans and pans of boiling water. Also, chocolate doesn't actually like going over 60 degrees centigrade. If it goes over 60 degrees centigrade, you can't temper it. And I will explain what tempering is in just a minute. Okay, so this is 1 minute and 30 seconds, and hopefully you can actually see it has started to melt already. Now, to avoid it burning, as I said, you only pop it in a minute at first, 30 seconds, give it a stir, 30 seconds, give it a stir, and keep doing that until you've got beautifully molten chocolate, and I will prove that it can be done without burning. The first time someone told me you can do it, you can melt chocolate in 3 minutes in a microwave, so I just put it in for 3 minutes and it totally burnt. So if you are trying to do it, as I said, 30 seconds, take it out, give it a little stir. It doesn't have to be a big one. The reason you need to stir it is that the heat in a microwave always just goes into the middle, and you need to distribute that heat. So I keep looking up to make sure I'm holding the bowl okay so you can see it. Okay. And then I'm going to give it another 30 seconds. And that will be ready to use. So we now need to temper the chocolate once it's melted. Tempering chocolate is heating and cooling the chocolate really quickly. The reason we need to heat it and cool it is so that the crystals set in a particular way. So if you are melting chocolate and you put it in a mould straight away, the crystals won't shrink away from the mould unless it's tempered. So it's really important to temper it. The way I temper chocolate is either this method, which I must admit is my favourite method. I don't know if you've seen the film Chocolat or read the book, but just watching that film and via tempering chocolate is quite amazing. So you can see this is 2.5 minutes in, I think, and we've got beautifully molten chocolate. Now, as I said, if we pop this into a mould or tried to make our bowl with it, it would just not come away from the mould. It wouldn't shrink properly. It would look quite streaky once it's set. It would have a white cloudy look on it. So we want our chocolate to be nice and shiny. So hopefully you can see the one that I did earlier is lovely and shiny. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. So to temper chocolate, once it's melted, you can either put in half the amount of cold buttons. So we had 600 grams, you could put in 300 grams of cold chocolate and stir it until it's tempered. The problem with that is different chocolates are different, so it won't always work. So my favourite method is to throw it onto a cold surface. You could get a marble chopping board, you can get them at a fairly reasonable price now, and it's beautiful for tempering chocolate. It is so therapeutic and calming. So we drag it along, spread it out, and that's cooling it. And then we bring it back together slowly, pulling it together and then spreading it out. Now, some of you may have questions about what I'm saying, and unfortunately I can't read those and do this at the same time. So after the video I will have a look at them and answer as many as I can if you do have any questions. I hope that's okay. Right, can you see how suddenly it's thickened up? And the reason it's thickened up is that these crystals have set in a particular way, and they are hopefully going to come away from our mould really well. So here we go. That's beautiful. It's really thick, it's not spreading as quickly, and you can see it's a bit shinier. Okay, it's coming together really nicely. Now, my best way of testing it, and this is what I was doing earlier, I promise, is if you get a little bit of chocolate and put it on your upper lip. If it feels cold, it's tempered. If it's still warm, it's not tempered. That is one very easy way of telling. We then have to try and get this back in the bowl, which does come eventually with practice. Okay, so we've got most of the chocolate. Don't worry about the bits that are left at the bottom. I'll show you what we'll do with those bits in a minute. There's a few little bits of chocolate here, and I'm actually just going to spread it out and leave it for a minute, and I'll show you what we can do with that. Okay, so we'll leave this bit setting here, and I've got my bowl of chocolate here. I'm running off to get a balloon. Okay, so we've got a little balloon here. It's up to you what size you make the balloon. You can do a tiny little one if you want individual portions, or you could do one big one if it's a sharer portion. And I know some people don't agree with the principle of sharer portions for desserts. So I am going to pop that in. I've got it in a piping bag. I'm snipping the end of the piping bag, and what I'm going to do is with the balloon, I'm dipping it into the bowl of chocolate just to give it a decent base, and then with the piping bag I'm going to pour a lot more chocolate on. Now I've actually slightly over tempered this chocolate, so bear with me a second. It's quite cold here today in the shop. Okay, so you can see, hopefully, the chocolate onto the balloon. It looks a bit lumpy, that's because it's setting so quickly, but it's fine because you can actually just spread it with your knife as well if you need to. Okay, so once we've got that, we pop it onto a bit of parchment. Now don't worry about it being even, you want something that's unique and authentic. So hold it for about 10 seconds. If it's really warm, it'll be dripping, so hold it for about 10 seconds, and then once you're ready, grab a bit of parchment, pop it onto the parchment. Now I love using my hands because it gives a bit of extra shape at the bottom, but if you don't like that, then spoon a little bit of chocolate onto it, and then pop it into the fridge, like pop the balloon on and then pop it into the fridge. So I'm going to send this to the fridge, and then I'll tell you what we're doing with this lot. Now I did a little plan there of what we were going to put into our bowl once we'd made it. So I've got some fruit that I'm going to be putting in, and I've decided to go for black forest fruits. I love those at this time of the year. I've got dark cherries, I have blackberries, blueberries, I've got a selection of dark fruits. I'm going to put in some crushed biscuit on top of that. I'm going to put on some whipped cream and a fruit coulis, and then some chocolate crumb and some decoration. So I'll start backwards and do the decoration first. And this is brilliant because this chocolate that I didn't clear up, if we just go along like this and scrape it, and depending on what angle you scrape it at, you'll get different effects. This is how cigarellos are made, by the way. So chocolate is spread very thinly onto a flat surface and then scraped off. So I just want some scrapings to put onto our bowl once it's done, and we're going to cover it in chocolate. So as I said, experiment with it once you've spread it, because it is lovely, all the different things you can get with it. Quite amazing. And this is also how a flake's made. It's a machine, obviously. There aren't lots of millions of people going along with scrapers. It's a machine where the chocolate's spread, and then it basically curls up. So we've got some lovely sprinkles there to pop onto our dessert when we're ready. Okay, so I am going to move all this out of the way because it's actually got really messy. So excuse me 1 minute while I move this. It's quite heavy, so just one tick. 1, 2, 3. I'm still here if anyone's joining us and wondering why they're looking at a blank screen. So we need to make our fruit coulis now. That's going to go at the bottom, at the top. So we've got our decoration. We're going to make our fruit coulis. Now what I've got here, as I said, I've got a selection of freeze-dried fruits. And I am going to pop in some icing sugar. So I've got 200 grams of fruit. Sorry, I said freeze-dried, I meant frozen. I've got 200 grams of fruit. I've got a tablespoon of icing sugar. It's always lumpy. So I'm going to pop that in. Could you get a spatula, please, that I can stir it with? So I've just sent my trusty assistant to get a spatula. Okay. And we are going to give this a little stir. And again, because I've got the microwave here, I'm going to pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And we should get a nice cooling. Now all we do once that's boiled and bubbled away is we would strain it off, and we'll have cooked fruit left over. We can use the juice and we can use the fruit. Now with the coulis, so I've totally lost my train of thought, I'm really sorry. Right, okay, so I've got the fruit which is going to go in the base of the bowl as well. So the next thing I want to do, I'm rushing actually, so I'm going to just take a deep breath. I'm sorry about this. So we've done our decoration, we've got our coulis going. If you're doing this at home and you just want to do it in a saucepan, if you just put the fruit in a saucepan, add the icing sugar in and cook it on a low heat for about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. So you want to boil it and then simmer it for a couple of minutes, and that should be fine. So it's been a minute in the microwave. I do have a cooker, honestly, if anyone's wondering why I keep using the microwave. Okay, you can see the juices coming out there. The icing sugar's blending in. And the fruit's cooking really nicely. Okay, so we're going to pop that back in for another minute. And I am going to go and get my cream while that's cooking. So if you hold on 2 ticks. So I've got my cream here that we're going to be whipping. This is 2 cups of cream, or I think about 500 ml of cream. I am going to put in, scraping a vanilla pod into that. And 2 tablespoons of icing sugar. So we've got 2 tablespoons of icing sugar, strain it all in. And just for a couple of minutes you'll be hearing it all whizzing away. Okay. So I'm just going to pop this into our mixer and get the cream whizzing. I'm whisking it, by the way. apologies for all that noise. We've got our cream ready there to go. So, moment of truth. I'm going to get our balloon out of the fridge. So the observant ones amongst you will notice that the balloon has changed colour. This is because I did a here's one I prepared earlier. It needs to sit in the fridge for at least half an hour, really, half an hour to 45 minutes. So this is one that I'd got ready earlier. So I'm going to just snip it very gently. Now you have to be quite gentle because if it goes too quickly, the balloon can pop. Okay? And then just gently peel the balloon out. Okay? And if you, hopefully you can see our bowl that we've made. Okay? Now in here, let's try and stick to the plan if I can remember it. We want a little bit of fruit. Just find my spoon. Can you see my spoon, Robin? The tall spoon you've got for me?
It's under there.
It's there, okay. Right, so the fruit is some of the cooled fruit from the coulis. So I've just spooned a little bit in there. You could use something like blackberry jam if you wanted. It's up to you, really, what you fancy using. You could do a raspberry one with white chocolate, which would be amazing. I love raspberries and white chocolate and dark chocolate. I actually like fruit and chocolate a lot. Okay, so the next thing I was going to do was put some biscuit crumb on top. And my young men, my boys, have helped me crush these biscuits up. So we've got some there for texture. And then we are popping in some cream on top of that. So I'll pipe this cream on top. And I honestly used to have a big phobia of using piping bags when I first started. So if you want to just spoon it, that's absolutely fine as well. So we've got our cream. You can do pretty patterns or literally just pipe it all on top. Okay, so pipe your cream on, and then we'll find our chocolate sprinkles that we made earlier. And just sprinkle them on top. If you were putting it on a pretty dish, you could just sprinkle them around on the dish. Here's one of the little cigarellos that I made. And then, we need our fruit coulis, which is here, and just get a little bit and spoon it over. Okay, and just a tight, oh, this is lovely. It smells so gorgeous. I wish you could all smell it. It's lovely. I'll be eating this later, well actually tomorrow. So can you move the phone out of the way? You've put your phone, that's it. And just for a little bit of extra decoration, because you can never over decorate things, can you? Maybe you can. Okay, a blackberry there, black cherry, another black cherry, blackberry, cherry, and there you have it. So I'm going to take the phone and just take a picture from the top, because I don't know if you can actually see it that well. So could you pass me the phone, please? Excuse me. Oh, hello? Am I still here? Yes, I am. So I am going to turn the camera around, excuse me for a minute, and hopefully you can see the finished product. There it is. I must admit, it does look pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, so I hope you've all enjoyed that. Please let me know if you've got any questions. And that's it, really. That's us done. Thank you very much for joining me. And I hope you will have a go at making this. And if you do, send me a picture. It's we're on Facebook as the Chocolate Cellar. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye.